Hello, it's Jilly from Jilly's Creative Corner. So today I've got this nice large card to show you today how to make. It's I don't know if it's its exact name, but I call it the 3-tier card because it's got three layers to it, and then just a cut out piece for the middle. It's using a full A4 sheet of cardstock. I just cut the long side down to 11.5, and then I just decorated it inside using the same stamp set that I've used on the outside. So the bundle that we're using today is Positive Thoughts. It comes with this beautiful stamp set where it's got flowers. I absolutely love butterflies and flowers, so I'm in 7th heaven with this one. So it's got the flower, a butterfly, lovely leaf, it's got a feather, and then it's got a little squiggly thing. Sending positive thoughts and feel good wishes, friends like you mean more every day, hugs, prayers, love. I'm not using those sentiments today. I'm actually going to use it, make it as a birthday card, so I'm going to bring in a different stamp set just with the sentiment on it. But with this bundle you get these framelets. So you get this rectangular one here which cuts like that beautiful little border, which we will be using. So that's a set of framelets. So you've got a framelit that will cut out that, and that. So, and then as extras you've got a little middle of a flower, you've got a little butterfly, and then a little flower stalk there, tiny one there, and then you've got this decorative border. We're not actually going to use those. For this card I've used that lovely leaf. That is stunning because it's got all the indents of a proper leaf. Don't know if you can see that. So it's like that, and I'm using that framelit for that to sit on, then the butterfly one, and then the flower one. So that's what I'm going to be using today, but it comes along with a lot of others that you can use for other cards. So the cardstock you need to make the actual card first is to make the base card. You need an A4 sheet, and you want to just cut it on the long side. You want to cut it down to 11.5. So you're going to have 8 1/4, which is a standard A4 width in the UK, and 11.5 long. Then on the long side you want to score it at 5 3/4, which then gives you half. You want to score it at 5 3/4, which then gives you the fold in the middle. So you've got then your card's base folded in half. Then for this piece of cardstock here, this one right, this time I'm going to be using Rich Razzleberry. So you want this piece of cardstock, you want one of these cut at 8 inches by 5.5 inches. And then to go on top of there, which would be this one, so you want it at 7 7/8 by 5 3/8. So that will sit on top of there. So you're literally just getting a little border of the cardstock. The next layer will be the coloured cardstock, will be 7.5 by 5 inches. And the basic white that will sit on top of that one will be 7 3/8 by 4 7/8. So that's going to sit like that. Obviously a bit more level than that. And the last piece on top, which is this piece here, I've made a bit smaller, which will be the coloured cardstock, whichever colour you choose to use, 6.5 inches by 4 1/4 inches. And then the basic white that will sit on top of there will be 6 3/8 by 4 1/8. So that will sit on top like that. So if you just take that away, that's all those layers there. Then you're going to need a scrap that measures 3 inches by 4.5 inches, so that you can cut out this framelit here. And then you need some scraps of green for your leaves and basic white for your flower and your butterfly, and a piece of basic white. But you don't need those basic whites to be the thick cardstock. That can just be the ordinary thickness. This one I've done in subtle colours. So this one I'm going to be doing in Regal. So Stampin' Up have colour families. This card was, all the 3 colours were from the Subtles family, and the one we're going to make today is from the Regals family. So I've got Garden Green for the green, Cajun Craze for the orange, and Rich Raspberry for the, it's like a purple, but a dark purple. So the first thing you do is you bring in all these layers. You take away the cardstock, the coloured cardstock layers. And you're left with the different sized basic white layers. So just take these off now, because that was just to show you the sizes. So I'm going to have the cards this way as opposed to this way. And what you need to do is put the largest piece down first. I always use my grid paper just to line it all up, and then with get some low tack tape. I think Hobbycraft do it, and you just put a little bit on there, because mine's not as low tack as I want it to be. I just put some, because you don't, what you don't want to happen is you don't want it to rip this paper underneath. So you're just going to put a couple of bits on there. Maybe I'll put a little bit there. Because they're quite big pieces, I'm just going to put a few on there. And then you're going to line up, so you've got an even border around. So probably like that, and then just gently. And then you're going to do exactly the same with this piece, so just put a little bit. As I said, if you've got very low tack tape, you won't need to do this. I'm just putting a bit of grease on mine so that it doesn't stick too much. You don't want the paper to tear. Okay, and then exactly the same. Now the border on this one will be wider because that's how I wanted it. You could just do the same width there as there and do more layers. You could do the same width there and have another one. You know, I've just chosen this is how I want my widths to be. So basically what you don't want them to move. That's why you put that low tack glue on, because you don't want these to move. And then what you do is I'm going to bring in my garden green and my leaf. I'm just going to ink up my leaf and just randomly, so hold the paper so that it doesn't shoot around, and so randomly stamp over the layers, so you're over all the layers like that. Then you can go in this way. You can go up this way. So that's your leaf one done. And if you want to, then you can just put an added leaf on this straight bit here, maybe like that. You don't need too much in the middle there, simply because you're going to be having this piece covering it. So that's all your leaves on there. Now I'm going to put some flowers on. Just bringing in rich raspberry flowers. So you could put a flower up in the corner there. Put one there. Just over all the layers. Put one here. And then you just come in with Cajun craze and put your butterflies. I'm just going to see how dark he is before I put him on the... Okay, so I'm going to do some dark, some light. So I will do a dark one there and a light one there. Dark one there, light one here, a dark one here, you're just randomly putting them. I'm going to put one down on this corner. There. Just going to put one there. Right, so that's all the ones done to stamping on there. Now, one thing you do have to bear in mind is you want to keep these up the right way. When I say that, because you're going to bring in these pieces now. You're going to bring in the coloured card pieces now. And you want them in that direction. So that one there is going to sit on there. And you're going to take this one gently off it. So that's what you've got on there. And then this bigger one here will sit on here. And this one here will sit on there. So you're matching up your flower, your butterfly. So your butterfly is here and your butterfly there. And then you're just going to lift this one off. And this one is going to go. So at the moment those two layers look like that. And then this one's coming in like this. And this one will come in like this. So what you're doing is you're bringing these in. So that leaf follows on that flower there. That butterfly wing follows on that one there. This butterfly wing here follows on here. Exactly the same here. Exactly the same here. So all that marries up. Obviously it's not stuck at the moment, so, and that's how you get this effect. It's all slightly raised higher, so it looks like the flower's got a lot more depth to it. So now what you want to do is you want to just take them separately. Make sure that when you glue them, you are gluing them. So I'm just going to show you. If I accidentally, because that bit there has to be in this top right hand corner. See, I don't know my left from my right, do I? Okay, I'll say that again. That bit here belongs to this flower. But if I accidentally turned it round, I've ended up with an upside down butterfly that should be down the bottom corner. So that's what I mean when I say make sure that you've got it exactly right when you come to stick it on. Stick them on their own bases. Okay, so I'm going to actually do this with liquid glue. Okay, so I'm coming in with my liquid glue. Liquid glue is probably the best for this, just because it's given you a little bit of wriggle room, and because we've only got 1/8 of an inch gap around, you want it to be quite accurate. So making sure I've got it the right way round. So you want it there. There. So now you're coming in with this piece here. So first of all, you're going to stick it to this piece here. And again, you want that flower up in that corner. So you're going to put that down. You want an even gap. As I said, with liquid glue it does give you a little bit of wriggle room. So then that's going to fit on there. So that's the edge of your flower. That there is the rest of your flower. And you've got your butterfly like that. So the last piece onto cardstock is this piece. Right, so there you've got that. Get the glue off my finger. So you've got all that like that now. And then you want to come in and put glue on the back of this one. And again, make sure that that flower is up in that corner there. And you've got the same, and again, do it with liquid glue because you want that butterfly to marry up there. You want the flower to marry up there, that flower there, this butterfly here, this butterfly here. Then you want the last one, which is the smallest one. That's the last bit of your flower there. Last bit of your butterfly. So you're marrying at this butterfly here, the butterfly wing there, butterfly wing there, butterfly wing there, and the flower there, and the flower there. And there's your layer. That's your layered bit done. And then you're going to come in with your base card, and you're going to stick the whole lot onto your base card. Okay, so level all the way round and then glue it down. So that is your basic card with the layers. So now you've done the base of the card and the pattern. So now we just want to do the top decoration bit. So I've already gone ahead and cut out this die here. And you have this die in that pack that cut out this one. So we're going to come in and cut out the leaves. So these leaves, you don't need to do any stamping. It's actually got all the dents and just like it was a real leaf. Absolutely stunning, this framelit is. Then we're going to stamp a flower in rich raspberry, so in this colour, on basic white, but in this colour ink, and a butterfly, and then we're going to just do this as a birthday. So I've already cut out that die that's going to sit there, so I'm going to go ahead and do my leaves, butterfly and flowers. So the green that I've used in this card is called Garden Green. So I'm going to bring in some Garden Green cardstock, and I'm going to cut out 3 of the leaves. So I just cut because there's only one die in the pack, one of these dies, you just would run it through it 3 times. So I'll do all that off camera. So that's 3 pieces for the leaf. So you've got little holes here, because that's quite flat in, because it needed to do all the dents and everything into the leaf. If you bring in your pokey tool and just pop your pokey tool in, and it just, those little holes there, release the paper inside. There you go. And then lift it up like that. Oh, that's stunning. And there's your leaf. So there's one. I've got another 2 to do. So I'm going to bring in some basic white and some rich raspberry ink at my flower. Make sure, because it's got lots of little ins and outs and some longer than others, you just got to match up the petals whether they come out further. So there's the furthest one that comes out. So if you line that up with that one, and there's your, that all marries up there. Just put that to one side a second, and then I'm going to bring in the Cajun craze. I'm going to ink up my butterfly, but I'm going to stamp it off and then stamp it down here. So it's not a very, very strong colour. And then I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine and cut those 2 out. So I'll just meet you at the other end. So I've come back now with all my pieces cut. So I've got 3 of the beautiful leaves, 1 flower in rich raspberry, and 1 butterfly in a stamped off Cajun craze. I didn't want a full colour. Then you've got a little piece of basic white that measures 1 inch by 2 1/4, and that's just to stamp your happy birthday on. And then of course you've got your layering piece that we're going to use. So this will go on first in the, in the middle. So you've got an even border from there to there, and then an even border from there to there. I am going to be bringing in a different stamp set for the sentiment, for the happy birthday. It's a great stamp set. It's called Peaceful Moments, and it's got pretty much your standard things that you need usually as a card maker. So you've got your happy birthday, you've also got with deeper sympathy and thank you and congratulations, and then you've got these are the moments we'll look back on with joy, and you've got wishing you every happiness this special day will bring. So that can be stamped inside your card for a birthday or for a wedding, engagement, anything really, because it's sort of it sort of sums up happiness, doesn't it, for anything, any one particular day. So you could use it for anything. Always remember, and life is better with a friend like you, and you shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did. So it's a really good all-round one, a staple stamp set to have in your stash. So I'm going to come in with the happy birthday. The sun at the moment keeps threatening to come out, comes out, blinds you, and I think, oh, shall I pull the curtain across? And then suddenly it's gone again, so you don't need to. So I'm just going to line that up. I'm going to stamp it in Cajun Craze and in the full colour. Really deep, rich, it's almost like a rust colour, but then when you stamp it off again it's nice and pale, so you've got like a real two-tone there. And then I'm going to bring in my rich raspberry ink and my sponge dauber and just dauber the ends. So you just put it on your finger, pick up some ink on it, and just give the edges a bit of colour. I do this quite a lot on my projects. It softens, I think it just softens the edges of Whisper White, and because it's going to go on now, I think it just softens and blends it into the colour. So I'm just going to grab my glue, I'll use liquid glue on this just so it gives me the wriggle room to get it level. Pop that into the grid. Don't want to get it too close to the edges because some of those have got little tiny pin brick holes. You don't want it seeping through. So just pop it down, just wriggle it about so you've got pretty much an even there and there, and an even there and there. And now we're going to bring the leaves in. These leaves, because they've got like these little stems, they actually fit into each other as well. I think Stampin' Up have excelled themselves with these leaves. So I sort of want one to go up in the corner, and then probably one. I always place them first to see where I want them and how I want them to look before I start putting glue dots on them. And then I want that flower to go like that, because those two bits that stick out there, I want this to slide under there. Like that, so you've got the edge of the thing showing, but you still get the bee. Like that. So you've still got your bee, but you've still got your edge showing. It's just me, how I want it to look. And then I'm going to have it, the butterfly flitting off that way. So that's how I think they might need to come up a little bit. This is a time that you can fiddle and make a decision before you start putting glue on it. The only definite thing in my mind is that I want the bee for birthday to be between that petal and that petal, so it sits nicely. And I think that is how I want it to look. Right, so just lift that one off there. So that's the first one I'm going to put down because it's going down flat. And I'm just going to put a little mark there. And I'm going to put it down flat with liquid glue. So that line there is where I just want that to go. There. So I'm just going to lift that off there like that. So that's, I know now that's how I want my leaves to be. And I'm coming in with glue dots for my leaves because I don't want them stuck flat, because leaves have movement in them. So I'm bringing in my glue dots. Just sticking. I want that one there. One there. That one there, and then I can just bring in some more glue dots underneath, just so that they're not, I don't lose the place where I wanted them to be. Okay, so that's still got some movement in the ends. So I'll just pop a little bit more into that one there. So now we've got the leaves where we want them, we've got the birthday where we want it. Now I'm going to bring in the flower. Let's give it a bit of spring to it so it's not flat. And remember, I wanted those two pieces to go in around the birthday. So it will sit like that. So I'm just going to pop glue dots on here too, so that the flower still has plenty of movement in it. a glue dot in the middle there, which is where I want that to be. So there I've got my flower and my leaves all together there. And the last thing to go on is my flutterby, which, where's my flutterby gone? Right in front of me, right by the butterfly on here. So again, I'm just going to bring his wings up a bit. So I'm going to stick the glue dots down his middle, if you like, so that it looks like he's going flying. Oh, I think you can hear Bodhi again. He must have took his friend out. I think he's going to be becoming part of my videos. He does like to be a little bit vocal, and it always seems to be when I'm working on my video. So if I pop him here, there, and then just to finish off, I'm going to bring in my Elegant Facet gems. So they come in clear, and then this is like a goldy, it's got like a goldy fleck in it. So just see what that looks like on the back of I put these gold ones on. So put one there, one down here, maybe one up there. Oh, Bodhi's friends come back now. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, and one in the middle of the flower. Oh, that wasn't very middle, was it? And that's the outside all finished beautifully. So we're just going to now open it up, and until you decide what sentiment you want to put inside, if any, you might just want to write in it. So I'm going to bring in Garden Green, and cut my stamp. Bring one up there. A little bit behind there. So bring in the rich raspberry and ink up the flower. So just pop a flower here, a bit of a flower here, and a bit of a flower here, and then bring in Cajun craze and put, just going to put some paler. So I'm going to stamp it off. And there's the insides of your card all done. So there's the inside of your card done. You could put a bit more green here if you wanted to. You can put a sentiment in the middle, which I probably will later on. I just don't know which one I want to put in yet. So there's your card on the inside. Don't forget, you can also, we're going to make an envelope for this card as well, because you need a big envelope, because it comes out at 5 7/8 by 8 1/4. I will make a quick video after this one to show you how to make the envelope to go with this card. It's very quick, very easy. But I hope you've enjoyed this video for this card. It is a large card, but you can downsize these cards to any size you want. It's just as, I think the only thing I would say is the card size, the coloured card size. Make sure there's only 1/8 of an inch difference between that and your basic white colours all the way down. It doesn't matter the gaps between, as long as the cardstock and that basic white has only got his 1/8 of an inch round, just so that it picks up the rest of the flower and the rest of the butterfly or whatever you've stamped. So I hope you've enjoyed this project. Be great if you make it yourself. It'd be fantastic if you just maybe in the comments, or I've got a Facebook page, Jilly's Creative Corner. You could post some pictures of cards you've made yourself on there. It's lovely to share what we love to do, and I'll see you next time.